I've been eating takis there. I done got my mouth burning, my nose running, and everything. So, let me get y'all pulled up right here. May not let me pull it up. There y'all are. So how y'all is tonight? Welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors. Do y'all realize this is our 20th live? So I set up a little different out here. Well, I thought it would look better this way. We're going to try it out and see how it works. This old rocking chair I'm a sitting in, y'all. I was leaving one day headed to town or headed somewhere in my old pickup. And my neighbor down here, she'd set it out there by the garbage barrel for it to be hauled off. Well, the garbage people won't pick up something like this. I mean, it's got to be in a bag, but she was going to try. So I just pulled over and got it. Well, since I'd done that, she puts all kind of stuff out there and wonders why they don't get it. So anyway, I brought it home, and what happened, she left it sitting outside and let the bottom of the rockers rot. So what I done is turned it upside down there, and I ripped me some pieces of oak, about I don't know, not quite a quarter of an inch thick, and I bent them over them rockers and shot them in there with a staple gun, and then I went and stuck some wedges in them places they wouldn't know where it was rotted out, filled the gaps in, and I made it functional. Now it's old rickety, but I like just picking up garbage and salvaging it. So that's how this rocking chair come to be out here in the dirt. So eventually, hopefully this spring or summer, sometime, I want to pour a slab out here. But I don't know. I got too much stuff right now that I'm needing to spend money on to do that. I need to buy a new keel. Buggy needing a whole new set of tires. Wanting to buy me a new GoPro camera since I destroyed one this week. I destroyed my DSLR. And I just use them for like a backup camera off over there. If I was trying to get where I could use backup angles and stuff. And in that boat, I wanted one camera set back there just rolling, you know. But anyway, and I want to put a new set of electronics on my skeeter boat. So that the reason I was fishing the other day in the aluminum War Eagle boat is because it's got a good hummingbird. I can idle around and look at the graph on there. I don't have a rear depth finder on my skeeter boat, and I need to buy me one. So a lot of stuff to spend money on, yet here I am sitting out here in the dirt talking about putting a slab down. So it probably won't happen, but one day it will. It's always good to dream. If a man ain't got things that he wants, he won't work long. Cause I mean, you gotta have things that you want. If you can just go buy everything you want, you ain't got no motivation to work. You can't go buy everything you want. You need a few things that you just want. You know, you don't never get them, you just always want them. So, how everybody is, looks like we got some folks done jumped on here tonight. And I know y'all the last couple of weekends I have been late about saying, hey, we're going to be live. I'm pretty much going to try to be live every Friday night at 7 o'clock. Now, there will be times that we won't be on here. You know, something will come up. It'd probably be more practical if I made an announcement, hey, we're not going to be live. That way everybody just knows to be here. But it's good to give people a reminder and say, hey, join in. So, Mark, how do you say your last name? Like, I'm going to try it. Now, forgive me when I butcher this name. Lecatsi or Lecatesi? Licatesi? I bet one of them's right. Kevin Wilson, how are you tonight, man? JL327. No, I'm not frying catfish, Mark. I have got ribeye steaks on the grill. We're going to go over there and get them off. I am actually cooking at the moment. So don't let me forget here in about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, I need to go flip them. All right. Jessica, how are you? From Arkansas. I'm top notch. Good evening from Travis Nichols. Patriot Madness. Mickey from Pickett County, Tennessee. Charlie Pickerel, how are you, brother? Ronnie Bonin. Ron, the old man from Louisiana. We all headed in that direction. Depends on how young a person you ask as to how old we are. Appalachian Explorers. Hello from Alabama. Fluffy Butt Palms. I like that name. And y'all, that is a dog. You look at the profile down there. The dog is Fluffy Butt. Oh, Cindy Evans. Yeah, it rocks. And I can't be still in it, Cindy. If I'm in a rocking chair, I got to be a rocking. Doug Evans. K-bar fishing knife. You know, a K-bar is the one knife I do not own a K-bar. I need to invest in one. Jimmy Sullivan. How are you? Poverty Hill Adventures. How are you, Brian? I've got a chance, Brian, to watch a couple of your videos here this past week, but I watch them when I lay up in the bed in yonder at night. I turn you or Richard Gene fishing machine on, or we watched Appalachian, celebrating Appalachia last night, and you don't get to comment. I can go hit the like button, so I hit the like on there, but I don't get to leave a comment. So Jerome Smith, Ned Flora. Yeah, Jimmy, I got a good fire rolling out here, just for nostalgia. It really ain't cool enough to need a fire, but I just like to smell that wood burn. I don't know, it does something for me. Preacher said he wanted something once. He's 60 and still wanting it. Hey, you on the money right there. And you know what? You just as well off as the folks that went and bought it. Because they probably done tore it up and throwed it away, and you still thinking about how wonderful it is. See how that works? Well, Cindy, I didn't know if I was going to be able to be live or not, because we went and did a handprint. We actually had a couple of people cancel. The kids was sick, what the deal was, and a lot of sickness still going around here, seems like. Maybe a second wave of it. I hope I don't get it again, but anyway, Mike Reed, how are you tonight, brother? Good to see you. But we got to go back in the morning. They're having a Mardi Gras parade up there in a little town that we go in. It's a real small little town here called Noxapater. It's not very far from us. We don't know nothing about what all. It's a kid-friendly, family-friendly type deal. It's not the Mardi Gras y'all thinking about down there where they throw in the beads and the whatnot. I can't partake in all of that. So anyway, we are going to be busy and stuff going on this weekend, but I try to get a live in if I can. Ron Pearson, Keith Mosley. Jerome Smith said he's a birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Jerome Smith. How old are you? About 25 or 26? I think Charlie Daniels said, was it 25 or 26? Outdoors Dreadhead. Thank you, Mike. Nice fire. I enjoy having a fire, and it really ain't cool enough to need one, but I like it. Uncle Sasquatch, good to see you, brother. Brian Hughes. Yeah, don't let me forget about them steaks. Let me run through these comments, and I'm going to have to go get them. Jamie Johnston. I almost thought it said Jamie Johnson. I was fixing to get you cut loose in color. Come on. Walker, I bet you've heard jokes like that before, though, ain't you? Walker's Big Adventure. Trapping, I caught a beaver the other day, and I got a man that contacted me today, or well, he didn't contact me, his brother, or no, it was his nephew. I talked to at the store a while ago, said he's got otter in his pond, so I may go get after it. I'm waiting till some things come down. I'm actually working on some bait, and I'm going to hit the coyotes back here probably after trapping season. When it ain't so wet, they staying back there. I hadn't went after them yet. We're going to go get them. Mitchell Kirby, Mark Lacazzi, Cindy Evans, Lookout Mountain. Good to see you, Butch. Heard them jokes many times, but hey, that's a good name to be confused with. I like old Jamie Johnson now. He's one of the few that's still actually country, I think. 53 years old. Brian, I appreciate you watching. I know when you busy, y'all busy up there where you at. I'm fixing to take y'all with me over here to check on these steaks. I'm finna shake the camera around a good bit. If you get seasick real easy, you might want to lean overboard. Because I got to flip these steaks. I try to be real gentle with y'all. You know, I know y'all like to look, though. And I can't see real good over here in these. I'm going to tell y'all. Y'all see this piece of meat right here? Me and Mama cooking, too. She wanted steak. I was going to get ribs. This right here is actually a pork steak. I got both of them pork steaks right there for like $6. I ain't gonna tell you how much them 2 ribeyes was. Y'all, we toted about 4 bags, which I got me a big old bag of them hot taki chips. I like them. Them things outrageous. We bought this 4 pieces of meat. And she got some stuff in there to make salads. And I need to put that while I'm talking. And something, we got a few odd and end little old things just to eat supper tonight. Because it's just me and her. My daughter's got a job. She is waiting tables. This is her, well, she's worked 2 or 3 nights in prep. This is their first night of being open, a little restaurant in another town, Carthage over here. And so she's got her job waiting some tables. That'll be a good experience for her. And Brody is at his nana's because we're getting up early and leaving to go do an event tomorrow. We don't want to. He don't like to get stirred around too early, which we could have made it, but he wanted to spend the night. So it's just me and Mama here tonight, and we gonna eat good. So that's why we got that. But y'all, let's do it. We spent $70 on one meal tonight. I mean, ridiculous. So let me set y'all back up. I have this all jostled around. I raised that up, but I ain't gonna lower it right now. I'm gonna sit down and drink my coffee, and I got y'all way up there. I may have to turn that light up there off, but I ain't gotta look at y'all, look up there at that the whole time. No, Cindy, the mug ain't done. It's gotta be refired. It's still real rough and pitted up out here on the edges. We fired all of our stuff right now to cone 5, and this sea salt glaze that's under here is what makes it do this splotching, give it that antique look. It has to cook to cone 5 to smooth out. I mean to cone 6 to smooth out. So no, it is not through. It ain't finished. It's drinkable. I mean, I can drink out of it, but it ain't what I wanted. Ron, them raw mustard, they probably ain't good for you. I eat a lot of stuff raw, and I get fussed at a lot about it. I'll eat odd and end a little of this, that, and the other raw. Really ain't probably good for you, but hey, try it. I will say what I'm going to do here before long, y'all. We got that hen bit. It is just thick out here in some places. I put in on a video that'll be out in a day or 2 out here with it. And that hen bit, and I want to make a wild salad out of it. So I'm going to do that here sometime, but I don't know how the mustards would be in a salad. They definitely have a distinct taste. I tell you what, they probably good, like I do the cabbage fried, Of course, obviously, I like them boiled down. Them 2 steaks outdoors wasn't quite $40 just for them, but they was 27 or so at least. It's crazy, man. I don't know how people are feeding a big family every day. I mean, and eat decently, which we splurged a little night. We spent $70 Friday nights, just us. We could eat steak. She wanted steak, so that's what we're doing. And we don't eat steak here a whole lot, honest to God. The last steak I had, we was on the road delivering. I I think apple. No, we stopped at Outback, and I ate a steak and a blooming onion, and that blooming onion was good. I'm gonna fry one out here one night. We're gonna do a video on a blooming onion. Oh, I've got a lot of plans, and I stay so busy it's hard to make all of it happen. And I'm making a video a day, and I can't get everything made that I want to make. And I had a video to upload today. I made the Teemu video fishing. I slaughtered the crappie the other day with that Teemu pole, and of course, I went to one of my little honey holes that I knew I could catch some fish in, that the weather was just right and the water has gotten just right. Because usually that swamp's flooded right now with all the rain. And when we got rain coming in tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow, and it'll be back out of whack for another couple of weeks. But I hit it just right and got in there in that water and some of that backwater. And man, I slaughtered the crappie with that little old Teemu stuff. Well, their video, they want you to send it to them and let them approve it before you... They got to, well, I got a video I can put out tomorrow, but I was about to say they got to tomorrow, else I'm going to put it out whether they approve it or not. Anyway. Uncle Sasquatch, that pork steak's fine eating now. There ain't no doubt about it. There ain't no shame in them pork steaks. They are good. I do like my pork done. I eat my ribeye about bleeding, but now I'll probably cook them a little done because I'll slam forget about them over here talking, and there ain't no way I'm going to get them all. Cindy Brody stays over there with him a good bit, so he makes a lot of memories, but now they let him get away with more than I do. I fuss at him a little bit every now and then. Jerome Smith, what state are you in? Talking about hunting hogs. But email me if you can, or get on my Facebook and message me through it will work. Cindy, we was talking about this at the grocery store. I run into a couple of people I knew, and we was at the grocery store buying stuff because we didn't lay nothing out of the freezer to eat. We got all kind of stuff here in the freezer. We could have cooked a meal out, but I mean, we was busy and didn't think to lay nothing out. You know, it ain't the we got that freezer's full of stuff. I mean, full of stuff. And we fried crappie last night, so it didn't cost us nothing to eat last night. D&D's from Arizona. Man, yeah. Outdoors, I can imagine they are. That food bank, I mean, I don't see how people's making it. I really don't. Jason McAllister said raw is better according to my nutrition classes. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I guess as long as you rinse your bugs off of it, it's pretty safe. But now, a lot of them's wanting us to eat the bugs. They say that's what we're going to be eating here before long. We're going to eat, you know, bugs for what they're going to make food out of. Hey, Mark, I got that beaver in the freezer down yonder, head and all. We're going to cook the whole thing. I skinned this and I caught. We got the whole beaver. We're going to put him on something, head and all. I thought that'd just blow somebody's mind. I'm trying to scroll back through. Karen Dunn from Louisiana. I'm picking y'all. I'm sure I'm skipping over some people. Y'all, if I do, I don't mean to. I'm up and down on this thing. I ain't purposely overlooking nobody. And if you want your name called out, just keep commenting. I'll see it in a minute. I don't. Tamara Spivey. I'm gonna guess at. One thing about these names, a lot of y'all here have names that I've never really heard, and I know I butcher them with my country accent, but I don't do it out of meanness. Just know I love you. I've heard my name has been butchered to death. A lot of people don't know how to say Peden. And it's all right. They call me Piddin and it don't bother me. How many flannels do I own? Oh Lord, a bunch. Usually every time I see a good one in a earth tone color in a thrift store, I get it. I bought one last week. I've probably got 20 or 25. I've got more clothes than most women do. Let me go check on these steaks again, y'all. I'll take y'all with me. I'll tote y'all over. I won't leave you. I promise I won't. I probably need to get my steak off. This is what I'm going to put it on. If Tony Parker was watching, I'd make him proud too of that, whatever y'all want to call it. I'm going to let Mama come out here and check her steak. Now, she don't like hers bleeding like I do. I'm going to let them pork steaks cook there a minute. And you know what hurts my feeling about this? All that charcoal is going to burn up. We cooked about 10, 15 minutes. Boy, boy, boy. I'm going to let them cook a few minutes. Y'all, I'm going to set y'all over here and just, y'all look at them mouth-watering steaks right there. Hey, get something to come check yours. I put some of that Eat 'em Raw seasoning I made on them pork steaks. I got my Mike Reed special. Y'all thought Mike Reed was the only one that had one of them good old buck 110s, didn't you? I love mine, but now I don't tote it a whole lot. We was at a handprint event, and I like to have a knife on my side, and that's why I was toting this. Which one you want? I got a knife. Because I don't care.
It's fine to me.
I think they're going to both be about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just a little more done, y'all, than I like. But them's good tender steaks. Give me just a second. I'll be back with you. Hey, if you'll bring me a fork, I'm going to eat mine. And can you bring me a salad in a little bit? I ain't got to have it right now. All right, we about to get set back up here. Y'all, I'm going to start trying to do, when I do a live.
I wasn't being stuck up, Raleigh ago. I was looking at this steak. Which one do you want?
I don't care. You get which one you want and hand me the cutting board, and I'm going to eat the other one. I'm trying to get my, yeah. I'm going to eat mine right here just like this. She brought me a fork, and I'm going to try to turn my comments around over here where I said, and we got the dogs shut up. My neighbor down the road, my buddy, he was up here the other day. He's gonna fix my boat motor, two of them actually, I think. And he's got a dog in heat down there. Well, I knew Roscoe was missing. He come driving up here and they got out, him and another neighbor down the road. They got out, had Roscoe armed up. My heart sunk. I said, is he all right? They said, oh yeah, he's fine. We just scared them other dogs. There's a whole bunch of male dogs hanging around there, and Roscoe's the littlest one. They didn't want him to get chewed up. I didn't either. So they was nice enough to bring him home. So we've got Roscoe put up where he don't go down there and get in a fight with a dog about twice his size, because Roscoe don't know he's a dog. He thinks he's a human, and he thinks he's big as old Andre the Giant. Oh, well, y'all didn't even say nothing. Give me a minute here. Dear Lord, we're so thankful for this food. We pray that you'd bless it to the nourishment of our body. Give us strength and good health. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Oh, all right. I hate for y'all to watch me eat this whole steak right here, but you're going to have to. because I ain't about to lay it down in yonder and go back in a little while and eat it cold. Just ain't happening. And I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't got to have nothing to eat with it. I'm going to turn y'all a little bit. I figured I was out the side of the frame of some of y'all's TVs. And I'll try not to smack too loud. I see my buddy Weston. How are you tonight, Weston? Larry Reese in the house. Anthony Wren. Who all else? Mary Anderson. Miss Mary, how are you? Yeah, Michelle, Sandy Michelle, she's going to bring me a salad in a little bit, but I told her not to bring it till I finish my steak because I ain't got nowhere to sit. I could get over at the table and eat. I like sitting right here by the fire. I'm just enjoying life. Mark, how many flannels have you got? You said you think you met your match. I like my flannels. Grill up some apples with butter and cinnamon. And you know, I got some apples in there. What do? Cut the top out of an apple? Like hollow the top out and put butter? Michelle, have you ever grilled an apple with butter and cinnamon in it?
Oh, it sounds good.
Well, then while that's still hot, you ought to holler one out and see if that. Mark said it was good. Never heard of such. Brenda Bryant. Jenny Hackworth, how are you, Jenny? Sneaking at work. Don't get forward now. Watching. Don't let Spirit of the Outdoors get you forward. I don't want you to get in trouble at work. It was good to hear from you. Y'all, while she's on here, me chew up this cud of meat. Get it swallowed down. Quarter them up in a cast iron pan. We used to do some onions. I used to put an onion on the grill, Mark. I'd take a whole onion and I'd cut me a hole in the top of it like a bowl, and I'd put me a scoop of butter in the top of that thing and set it on the grill. You talking about fine. Now, I like onion. It was good. But Miss Jenny, what I was going to say, y'all, is she ordered a sticker off the Etsy site. And y'all, when she got her sticker, they had made a mess out of them. They cut it in half, and it had to eat them raw, you know, like they cut it in half and then reversed it, and it was sticking off the side of it. I don't know what and you know they had to have seen that before they put it in the mail and sent it like that. We got her some new sticker, though. But what I was going to say, if you get something like that, either contact Printify and say, look here now, fix it. Or let me know where I can see about getting it fixed. Buttermilk, you put it on that cornbread, Michael. I use whole milk because I don't like buttermilk. I save that buttermilk to make biscuits out of. Man, y'all have thought on Instagram, them folks on Instagram, they rough on you. They like, it's supposed to be buttermilk. They don't, apparently over there, they don't know about the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. The creaky camper, I really do hate it. And I wouldn't normally just sit here and eat like this in front of you to torture you, but like I said, I sure hate to let this steak get cold and then go in there and warm it back up. It just ain't the same. That little cut of fat right there off of there is my favorite piece of the meat. I'll probably die of a heart attack one day, but when y'all all come to my funeral, y'all stand around and say, that old boy died happy. He doesn't regret it. I ain't trying to die, but I ain't scared to go. I ain't scared to go. I'll tell y'all about an experience I had Wednesday night at church here in a little while, if you'll remind me. I don't want to tell it while I'm eating. Heading out to the freezer, you fixing to cook something up, ain't you? I don't blame you not one bit. I need to lay that beaver out and cook it sometime. How y'all want to cook that beaver? Y'all give me some ideas. I mean, I have smoked them on the grill before, and that's about what I'm thinking about doing. But if y'all got some more crazy ideas, we'll try about anything, as long as it's somewhat edible. We'll see you later, Jenny. Join back in. We'll be on a couple hours. If you get time, hop back on here. Joel, thank you for joining in. I know a lot of y'all can't stay all night. Hop on, say hey, and go on about your beer. I don't mind. You know, we just gonna stay on here for a while and carry on, have a good time, talk, tell stories. No telling what for the night's over. But just to provide some entertainment for folks. Have a good time. I know y'all got lives going on, stuff you need to do. I well know it. Sometimes I worry about though when I'm watching videos and these people that used to comment all the time and then all of a sudden you don't never see them no more. You wonder, you know, are they all right? Or I know a lot of times life gets busy and people, they'll delete, you know, social media apps for their own sake of time, and I understand that too. I ain't on. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of garbage on here. I scroll through at times and, man. I have to check my email pretty regular now. I used to never check email. Fortunately, a lot of the garbage stuff goes into a field. I don't never emote it up. And I need to go through it every night because I get them collaboration invites that sometimes go in there. And, you know, I thought, sitting here thinking about it, I ain't checked them in quite a long time. And telling what I've missed out on. But, you know, oh well. It ain't the end of the world. But I opened my email today. And them old spam things, they desperate, you know, when they want to hack your stuff, so they'll get some pretty girl about half dressed in the profile, and they'll, and the title of it was, "Are you still looking for pretty girls?" Normally, I just delete the mess and go on, because it's spam. I mean, you can guarantee it's spam. I couldn't stand it, though. I replied back to it. I said, "No, ma'am, I'm looking for a woman that can make a good biscuit. How's your biscuits look?" They didn't want to talk no more after that. At my age, I ain't interested in what you look like. I really ain't. I done been down that road. It ain't nothing but heartache. Oh, Roscoe, he done licked the window clean over yonder. I have to give him some paper towels here in a minute. I'll get up with the comments in a little bit. Beaver stew. Never thought about that. Poke holes in it, put some bacon strips in it. Now, I like that idea. I bought some bacon. Joyce, yes, ma'am. We'll be praying for your son. What part of Mississippi? We're in Neshoba County. A lot of folks claim Philadelphia, but man, it takes me 20 minutes to get to Philadelphia, so we just say Neshoba County nowadays. Cook that beaver up like a suckling pig. Cochon de lait style. Dave, do you say Atchafalaya or the Sheffield Basin? Come on. My daddy worked down there in South Louisiana for a lot of years, and he always talked about the Sheffield Basin. And I get on there and I see these folks on TV talking about the Atchafalaya Basin. I'm like, where's that at? So what do y'all actually call it? Type it like you say it, not how it's spelled. Type it out like you say it. Poor old Roscoe drawing. Trust me, he's going to eat as many crappie as I did last night. But I'm going to be honest with you, old Roscoe ain't getting none of this steak now. I love him, but I don't love him $27 worth of good. He going to get Alpo. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, Dave. Yeah, I was. In fact, I think I was watching Swamp People. And you know Troy Landry knows better. I don't think it was him who I heard say it. But whoever I did hear say it, I thought was supposed to know better. Because, you know, the announcers, you don't expect nothing else out of them, but they'll set up in them big cities and look down on us country folks like we ignorant, you know. And they don't realize how stupid they are, I don't think. Sandy Michelle's probably already gave him half of hers, you won't know the truth. If he was out here, I'd give him a bite. I gotta get them pork steaks off. Y'all, I forgot about them. But it's just as well I did, y'all. They are perfect. Look at them. Hold that where they don't slide off. Look at that. Just look at it, would you? Just look at that, would you? Look at that big juicy piece of fat hanging off there. That's going to be the best bite. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to eat my salad. I'm going to take these in there and save them for later. I know I used to would have ate that too. But y'all, I've been losing weight lately. And I need to drill another hole in my belt, but I have trained myself to eat one plate of food and quit. And that way, you know, I'll be honest with you. I was watching some of my videos and I turned sideways back to some and I had that t-shirt on. I said, oh, come on, boy, you getting fat. You gotta start watching what you eat. I watch it. I watch it on that fork when it. Let me go put this in the house. I'll be right back. Y'all, old Roscoe, he's in there sitting right there at Michelle's feet watching her eat every bite. I think he's ate as much of it she has, if you want to know the truth. Ah, all right. Now let's work on this old salad. Tie-dyed, yes, Mountain Wonder. In fact, the shirt I got on is one that Nikki and J.R. Willis made from J.R. Willis's channel. Come to think of them, I ain't seen a video from them lately. Sometimes that algorithm, which I hadn't been on watching a lot of nobody's videos lately. I have been busier than a cat trying to cover up crap on ice, and I ain't having a lot of success with it. I'm trying to do too much. I need to check on those JR and Nikki. Hey Brenda, it's been probably over a year since I have actually grilled a steak out here. That is the first steak I have grilled since we built this back here, which I ain't cooked no whole lot of nothing out here. Oh, now I cooked fajitas on the Blackstone the other night, and last night I fried fish out here. And I got my brother's fish fryer out here. That basket fryer belongs to my brother. He had brought it over to the cabin we was having eaten in the fall. Well, he ain't needed it all winter. They ain't gonna cook outside in the cold. And I brought it over here when I was cooking. Well, I've done used it 2 or 3 times. Well, that factory line where it hooks to the cooker in the back, I don't know what happened, but it got hot back there and melted. I just come unhooked. And I come out the door last night, and that thing, the end of the hose was laying over there pointed up, and it was just the prettiest big old flame. It was about 3 foot tall. It wasn't blowing hard. It was just a burning though. I had to cut about, 2 or 3 inches off of that. Is that metal braided line, a good line. It wasn't no cheap line either. It's the factory stuff. And I took it down there got my 4-inch, my grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I whacked it right off. I went and got me a good old worm clamp. Y'all know what a worm clamp is, I'm assuming. I tightened that joker up and it cooked. I improved it's what I did. Well, Weston, I need a good place to deer hunt. I sure do. I'm thinking I got me a deer club I may be able to get into. One of the members, he told me that they was taking some memberships. So I told him to put in a good word for me. I'd try to come up with $1,000. So I don't know how much land they got. I think they got a decent amount of land, and that got awful far away. Really, I just need somewhere I can get Brody involved in it. We can set in a deer stand and him stay warm and all such as that for him, more or less. As far as me just wanting to kill trophy bucks, I could care less. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I have realized I am not a trophy buck hunter. It just don't interest me. I'm a fisherman. And not a real good one at most times. Italian dressing. I think this is mostly like iceberg type lettuce. I'll show you. Got some red onions in there, some cheese, carrots. We bought a bag of that lettuce. Now, I like the spinach type lettuce a lot too. It's got bacon bits in it. But I am a fan of Italian dressing, and I like ranch. I grew up on Thousand Island. It's been a lot of years since I've eaten much Thousand Island. I got on the Italian, and I just had rather have the Italian for the most part. I don't know how I got. And I can eat, and that Catalina, she bought the Catalina, and it's good to see, good dressing. Mark, me and Brody sat down last night, and I found a big old bowl in the cabinet in there that was glass, clear. It was about an inch around bigger than this bowl I'm eating out of. Brody kept on wanting ice cream, so I said, "You want your own bowl, or we're gonna share a bowl?" He said, "Let's share one, Daddy." I said, "All right." We filled that thing up with ice cream. He said, "I'll get the syrup," and he reached up there, and there was 2 bottles. He likes chocolate milk, but he don't really like for you to buy chocolate milk, which Michelle don't like to buy chocolate milk. We buy regular whole milk, and she can put the chocolate syrup in it weak where he ain't getting just too much sugar. But he thinks he's got to have chocolate milk every morning when he gets up, and then right before bed every night. So anyway, he grabbed the chocolate syrup, but he grabbed the caramel syrup. She had bought a big old bottle of caramel syrup to make Christmas candy. We made them little, what they call haystacks. You put it on the pretzels and different things. But anyway, he grabbed it. He said, "What's that?" I said, "Which one you want to put on it?" He said, "Let's put both of them on it." I said, "All right." So we covered one side of the bowl with chocolate syrup, the other half with caramel syrup. And boy, me and him sat there, and I'd get a bite, and he'd get a bite. We had us a time eating the ice cream now, so it won't be long. I'll have me a bowl of ice cream out here eating it. We eat a healthy amount of ice cream, though. But now I've saved every ice cream bucket I ever had in my life, I think. I got mad the other day. I saved my chitlin bucket. Them chitlin buckets is hard to come by now. And the dog, old Roxanne, got the lid. The wind got to blowing out here and blowed it out in the yard. It was sitting on the table down there. And I don't know what I was saving it for. I always use it for something. And right now it's full of potting soil where I was starting my seeds, but Roxanne chewed the lid up. I had to throw the lid away. Yeah, JL327, I did see Nikki had got her a bass and learning how to play it. I'll be honest with you, I see more of their stuff now on Facebook than I do the YouTube channel. I may have to get on to them, I better not do that. They might get mad at me. I like them. I want to get them over here and go fishing again. Brenda, I'll be honest with you, I don't eat a lot of steak during this time of year, because when I got deer meat, I'll cut me a deer steak off and eat it. I save my hindquarters to a deer in them big roast, and I'll cut me a steak out of it, and that's what I eat this time of year for a steak. But now I like a good ribeye, ain't no doubt. Or T-bone. I tell you what I ain't never cooked, and that's a tomahawk. I need to make that happen sometime. I'll go by the bank and see if they'll give me a loan. If they will, we'll cook a tomahawk steak. I may need y'all to help me pay it off. Well, it might not impossible to get that last bite out of there, ain't it? Well, I better wash that knife. That's good enough. Whoop, whoop. A little bit on the bottom. It get up in that lock part down there, and I'll wash it later. Which side did I put that on now? I like that leather sheath on it. Them nylon ones just don't sit well with me for a $1.10. But now, y'all, I got my belly full. What's them horns for? Stir the soup? You about right. You are about right. Yeah, I looked at them. A bucket of chitlins a while ago was 40 something dollars in the grocery store. Ain't no joke. About bad as crawfish. Y'all know how much crawfish are? Man. Somebody said up here somewhere they was $12 or $13 a pound. I said, dude, what? I don't think they that. I thought I saw somewhere they was like $2.15, but I don't know. That seemed mighty cheap. Oh, Jason. Oh, I don't remember. I'll think of it in a minute and I'll take off on it. Larry Reese, good to hear from you. Glad you got to see me tonight. Oh, I know I was going to tell about my experience, yeah, with the church. Oh, and I like to get started preaching later on over in the video because it usually takes hard for me to get stopped once I get started. Y'all, I was scrolling. I wasn't watching. Them Instagram reels, you just kind of, whiz through them because there's more garbage than there is fitting stuff. But I do notice the more you watch one thing, stop on it, look at it, well, it'll put more of it on there. Well, mine gets a lot of religious stuff on there because somebody's talking about the Lord, whether they right or wrong. I, usually slow down enough to look at it. Hang on a minute. I didn't want to burp real loud on camera. Oh, I do burp occasionally. But anyway, I was watching Instagram and I was scrolling through these reels. And there was one stopped and they was talking about the name of Jesus. And he said Jesus was not really his name. Said the letter J said that Jesus is not in Arabic, and it's, it translates over. I really hadn't researched this. There's some things out there that, people expect if you're a preacher that you have researched everything and you're supposed to know everything about everything. I have really not researched that. I never have. It's never really crossed my mind to research it. But after you think about it, I thought, well, hey, so the guy said something about the letter J was not even invented until this 1500s or something, 60, I don't remember. I didn't put a lot of stock in it. I just, okay, and I went on by it. Well, I'm going to be honest with y'all. It just kind of preyed on my mind. Now, I thought about it. We was paddling down the river. I was down there checking them limb hooks. And when I ain't got the camera on and I'm talking to it, I talk to the Lord. I don't just like get down and, oh God, oh Jesus. I talk to the Lord like he's sitting there. I say, well, Lord, what is your name? What do you want us to call you? Because I was baptized in Jesus' name. We pray in Jesus' name. Well, that is true. In that native tongue would have not been Jesus. Lord, what do you want me to call you? And in that reel, he said something about the name Yeshua. I have heard Yeshua. So Wednesday night, we were praying. We have a small Bible study. About a third of the church shows up on Wednesday night. I think it's about that way with most churches. Not all churches, but a lot of them. It's common. It shouldn't be, but it's common. And we have a simple Bible study. And before the Bible study, the singers had got off the platform, and pastor was taking up some prayer requests, and he said, well, my ministers, and there's about 3 of us young guys in there that are preachers, or 4, I think there's actually 4 of us, and there that are preachers, and he said, well, y'all come down and help pray, with these folks sick, whatever, taking up prayer requests. So we walked down there, and There was a lady come down, we prayed for her, and then there was another lady, we prayed for her. I think another man or two come up and wanted some prayer for sickness. Well, there was a gentleman come up and wanted prayer, and he's been through some hardship, just personal stuff, just personal problems. I don't want to share it on here. It's none of nobody's business. But he was, getting prayer, and we knew that he was struggling with some things and with his kids and different stuff. And he's a good guy, and we were praying with him, and he was just, when he was praying, I mean, his lips was just da 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 da. And that's when that starts happening. That is when tongues come through. But the problem with that tongues is evidence of the Spirit. I mean, you know when somebody is praying and all of a sudden they lose control of their mouth, that is the Spirit taking control in their life. I mean, that's how that works. And he had these, what we call stammering lips. Well, I just, after a few minutes of this, I stepped up and I said, just say let your mouth say what is, because it's human nature. You try to stop that because you feel like I'm going to sound foolish. People's going to think you know what I'm talking about. The devil starts putting stuff in your mouth. Well, that ain't real. Don't do that. You just putting on. Anyway, I was up there and we was just praying. I told him a few things, and I was just standing there praying for him. I didn't tell him no whole lot of nothing. I had him by one arm, holding his arm up, and I had my hand on his back, and I'm just praying for him. And I felt some spirit. I felt a good spirit. I felt the Holy Ghost come down on that man. I mean, I got a cold chill, just shivered. I'm like, man, And I'm praying. Well, all of a sudden, in the back of my mind, I just seemed like I heard a voice. Not an audible voice, but that still small voice. Just, a whisper in the back of your mind. I was saying, Jesus, 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 And that question come up in the back of my mind, is that really my name? And I started saying, Yeshua, Yeshua. And y'all, the more I said it, the more I could literally feel the power of God. I mean, all of a sudden my hands started shaking. And I couldn't stop them. I mean, it wasn't like a trembling. It was like just a very, not a small tremble. I'm talking about like this. Like I couldn't. And y'all, next thing I know, the more I said it, the more I could feel the power of God. And I just kept saying, Yeshua, Yeshua. And y'all, before I knew it, my whole body was shaking. And I couldn't stop it. I mean, it was just like violently shaking. I ain't never felt the power of God in that manner. I have felt it as strong or stronger a couple of times in my life. Certain distinct, which probably none of them have been exactly the same. Y'all, but this was like the day after I had mentioned in the video, I'm marching around Jericho. And I feel like some battles that I've had in my life, not like certain situations, but when I say battles, I'm talking about as everything I do seems like I have to struggle with it to make it happen. And that's fixing to change. I know it is. It ain't changed just yet. But I have had all kind of buggy troubles. I've had every battery and every boat died. I mean, chickens dying, plants died all while I was gardening. Deer eat up everything. I mean, everything I have done has just been a struggle. I have had enough out of it to make it worth doing. I have had success. But, and a lot of it, I don't show all of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't just show every frustration because I don't want people feeling sorry for me. I don't do this to make people feel sorry. I do this to entertain and make people feel good. But there's been a lot of struggles. And I just felt like with some things that happened in the church services and all that it's fixing to be different, And that night when that happened, y'all, I could feel they was spiritual warfare battles. I could tell, you could feel it. And I know I was getting victory over some things. So y'all, that was what I don't know that I have never shook like that. I mean, I was praying and it was crazy. So anyway, Sean, this fire pit I am fixing to have to do some work on. I love the way it is right now, but this smoke is coming up and catching this roof and coming in toward the house. And I've got a fan over there right now trying to blow it, but it's fighting a losing battle. So I am fixing to have to do away with the tripod. And right now, I can't afford to do what I want to do, which is build a real stone fireplace right here up with a chimney all the way up out the roof. But my dad has a metal welding shop, and we got metal tubing, and he actually has an old awning over there that he built for a building, and that awning was wrong, and it's been laying over there for forever. And I'm fixing to go cut that thing up and modify it. And there's going to be a metal tube on, and it's going to look like a flat on the front, and it's up and then tapered on the back up to a place about this wide at the top. I'm going to screw tin. I got some old rusted tin. I'm going to cover it with that tin. That'll block and make it draft up. And then I'm going to put me a round piece of pipe up, and I'm going to cut a hole up there, and it's going to go through out that roof up there like a smokestack. And that's the way we're going to run this for a while. And with that metal tubing thing, I can put a chain and a hook in there welded to it some way to hang what I want to hang in there. So I'm going to modify that to make it work. I'm going to have to change, but I love this the way it looks. The look is awesome. But the smoke is just coming all into the house. If it was outside with no top on it, it would be fine. But I also want it to where, like, the rain, when it rains, that the rain don't fill it all up too. Right now, that drip edge hits right on the back of them rocks, and the rain just gets all in it. So you can't come out here and have a fire in drizzling, rainy weather either. So I'm going to have to do some modifications to it. All right. Y'all, there is talking about that testimony in the Bible. That is just a one experience. You know, every experience in God is not the same. There's some experiences that are. But there's so much of God that it really baffles me about God, how little that people try to get of it. Most people want to say, well, I believe in God, and I'm just going to try to be a good person and just do good. And that's all they ever get. And, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's so much more to it. There is, and I'm telling you from experience, there is real life-changing experiences and so much depth to a walk with God that you can get. There's experiences you can have. When you go back and read the Bible and you hear about old prophets that call fire down from heaven, that rods turned to snakes, parted the Red Sea, prophesied things that come to pass, laid hands on people and they was healed just like that. Peter and John walked by a man and their shadow passed over him and he was healed. You know why you don't see that today? Is because people want just enough if they can be saved. They want to put one foot over here in the church, but they don't want to pull that other foot out of the world. They want to hang on to some things that they know probably ain't just right, but probably ain't nothing wrong with it either. And they don't want to let go of that stuff, and then they don't really want to get deep enough into God that they completely forget about everything out here and see really how deep this is, because they're afraid, well, somebody's going to think I'm crazy. Somebody, and you know, on the day of Pentecost, when the Spirit was first poured out on humans, like it is after the veil was rent and God said, I'm going to pour my Spirit on you. He preached to them for 3.5 years what was going to happen. And they didn't understand it till the day of Pentecost when he poured it out. And he said, this is what's going to be with you. This is how you're supposed to do from now on till I come back and get you. And we've let that die. But when that Spirit was poured out on them, it didn't stay in that upper room. They staggered out into the streets talking in tongues and worshiping and those people all looking around at them accused them of being drunk. Now, for you to accuse somebody at church, have you ever accused anybody in your church of being drunk? Have you ever literally looked at them and said, I believe they drunk? And really thought that? You probably ain't. I know a few of you probably have, and you know what I'm talking about. That is what baffles me, is that when you can read about events in the Bible and you're satisfied not having them. You're comfortable with saying, well, that was just for back then. No, it wouldn't. The Bible says, I am God and I change not. What he give them on the day of Pentecost, he expected us to keep till he come back. And in fact, he said, when I return, will I find faith on the earth? You know, that's a bold statement. And if you look, do we really think he's going to find faith? I think he'll find a little of it. But, you know, how much of it? So anyway, I don't know. It's... Butch, I wish you'd have been with me too, buddy. I do. I really do. Well, I laid my screen down, y'all. It gets disconglomerated. Maybe I can fool around and keep pecking on this screen till I get it straightened out. There we go. No, I didn't take that, Dave. I didn't even take that new net with me. But I did pull up them bass, with that one bass with it up yonder. And the net seems like it's going to work great. But I'll be honest with you, I walked and toted that tackle bag that I've got from Teemu all the way back to the swamp where I fished. And, oh, that smoke is killing me right now. And anyway, I didn't want to tote more stuff than I needed, and I didn't have it with me. I could have used it. It would have come in handy. But I am probably going to go to Oak Tibby next week. I don't like that. I'm finna have to put that fan over here. Hold on a second. That smoke is terrible right there. Oh, see, that's why, Sean Beaver, I have got to put something up there. That smoke coming up here and getting all in my face while I'm trying to sit here, I can't deal with. But the landing net, from what I've seen with it, it's going to be a good net. Now, I do want to tell y'all this. When I got the net, the little black fishing reel that was free, had the green bell on it. That's about all you can say for it, is it was free. And I'm going to put it on a jig pole, one of my older jig poles, just as a reel on there. For it to go on something that I was going to fish with a lot, I wouldn't have it. So that's what I'm saying is when you order on Teemu, here's the problem with Teemu, is they some good stuff on there, but they some junk on there too. There is some absolute garbage on there. I will be the first to admit, because I'm probably one of the few people that's encouraging Teemu, saying, hey, there is some good stuff on there, but I want to be very transparent with you. There is some garbage on there, and it can be hit or miss. I always try to look at the reviews, and I need to personally go on there and leave some reviews on there. If they trying to give you a real $5 discount on something, you probably need to leave it alone. If it's $12 to $15, $20, I mean, they selling Abu Garcia reels on there for $30 and $40. I feel like they're real Abu Garcia reels, and I don't know how they're managing to have the Abu Garcia name. I don't know where Abu Garcia is actually at. But the net was good. Sean, you are absolutely right. Whenever you see a Christian faith start saying, well, if the world is, saying this is okay, we're going to change our beliefs of what that smoke, I'm telling you. I had to adjust the angle of my fan. My little fan knows fighting a losing battle way over there. But if a church decides, you know what, we're going to embrace something that the Bible clearly says is wrong, it's unnatural, that it's an abomination, that it's this or that, none of us hate anybody for being gay. I'm not mad at not one gay person. I don't care how they live their life. Just like I'm not mad at the man addicted to drugs. I don't hate that man. I can't stand that drug he's doing because it's destroying his life. I don't hate the man that's an alcoholic. I love him to death. There's some of y'all that are struggling with things. I don't hate you for the sin that you're involved in. It's the same way with the gay people. I'm not mad at them. I don't hate them as people. I really don't. If they come up to my house, they're as welcome here as anybody else. I would prefer they not go to trying to be affectionate towards one another right here in front of me, but I don't do that with my wife at their house in front of them or in front of their kids. So I would appreciate if they would have that same amount of respect for me that I'm trying to have for them, but all the while I'm not going to agree with their sin and say I think it's okay. It's not. And when a church decides, well, we want to be inclusive, we don't want to make them feel a certain, well, then you ain't doing your job to begin with, because you're supposed to stand against all manner of sin. The first problem is when we decided that adultery and that sort of thing was, well, it ain't that big a deal. Yeah, it is. It's a very big deal. If you sleeping around with somebody you ain't married to, it's a problem. It ain't right. Am I innocent of all charges? By all means, I'm not. I have, in the past, been very guilty. But I don't continue to do it. I said, Lord, forgive me for that. And when I said, Lord, forgive me, I said, I ain't going to do it no more, and I ain't. Now, if something was to happen one day and I did give in to some weakness and happen to do it, I'll ask for forgiveness and start over. It ain't the end of the world. But you can't sit here going, well, if I see somebody want to, mess around, I'm going to do it, and then I'll just... No, you can't just plan to do it. And it's the same way for them. They sit here and say, well, I was born this way and have these... No, you wouldn't. And if you was, that's why the Bible says you must be born again. And the deal is I see pretty women every day and think, oh, she's pretty, you have them thoughts. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But you know what? I don't go try to get her number and call and text her and try to get with her just because I felt that urge inside. I fight them urges too. And if you got urges toward a same gender a person as you got to fight them urges just like a straight man fights urges against another woman he ain't married to. You see, there ain't no whole lot of difference to it. So, you know, I'm not. They get a misconception that because you're a Christian and you say that it's a sin that you hate all gays. No, that ain't. I don't hate nobody. I, honest to God, don't hate nobody. Now, there's some people that I prefer not to be around and hang out with. You know, I may not like them, but I don't hate them. I want them to be saved. I want to share Jesus with them, and it ain't because I just want to tell them how to live or tell them they need to be what I think they ought to be. I would really like for them to know how wonderful life is loving Jesus Christ. They might get to stand there one night and be praying for somebody else and praying for that man to get a blessing and a breakthrough in his life, and all of a sudden start shaking and feeling the power of the Holy Ghost like this. You know what I mean? It's a wonderful thing. But, you know, the two hung up on thinking, well, you just hate everybody that ain't like you. And that's far from the truth. I mean, that ain't never about the case. So anyway, I knew when I started preaching that it'd take over and be that way. I mean, yeah, Brenda, Jesus sat down and eat with the poor people and eat with the ones that were drunks and sinners and all that. He said the whole needeth not a physician but the sick. But now I'll say this, I don't think you'll find Jesus out there where they was committing adultery and having drinking parties and all such as that going on. It said he eat with them and socialized with. He didn't avoid them, in other words. But, you know, I don't know that. But anyway. I figure I'll get off on some kind of tangent, get on my little soapbox. I'm going to build me a little box, and I'm going to write soap on it. I'm going to just get up on it every now and then and talk. That'd be good for nostalgia. Y'all want to see me do just in time, standing on a box that says soap? I like a tailgate myself. Y'all ain't gonna believe this, but that coffee, I done talked till it's about got cold. Oh, water to wine. Jesus did turn the water into wine. That was his first miracle. I could get deep into that, but I'm not right now. Mary, you missed me eating a steak about what you missed. I sat right here in front of God and everybody and ate a ribeye steak. Let me tend to this fire. Oh, Lord. Whew, that smoke tough, y'all. Oh, I got my hook 'em right here. Get that up like that. Get this off over in here. We'll pull them coals on up in here like that. Let's hook this part right over here. And come on. All right, I'm gonna go get one more stick of wood and put on there and see how much smoke we can make. I got some old stuff here. My dad-in-law, when they cut that tree down, they cut it and left it long. And I'm trying to burn it out here instead because it won't fit in my fireplace. And the next thing is, if you get a lot of flame and a hot fire going, you don't have nearby as much smoke. It smokes when it's just barely burning, so maybe that flame will keep me from getting smoked out. All right. Yeah, Jason, the deal with the water and the wine back in there, because when they accused the when they accused the apostles and everybody from the upper room, the 120 that was there, which they wound up being about 3,000, it said, that was filled with the Spirit that day, they accused them of being filled with new wine, not old wine. And the new wine was where they discovered how to really make it strong. So what wine was in the old days, from my understanding, I have done a little research. I have not in depth, like just really done a search on it. I have done a little research though. There was not fermentation until after the flood. My theory, we're going to have to throw some of that in there so I can explain all of it at one time. This might take a minute, so y'all get comfortable. Before the flood, the firmament was a bubble that we was in. The whole world was inside this bubble. That's why you look at like Neptune and some of these other planets that they say like Jupiter. Oh, that's a big gas. Well, how do you know that there ain't a small rock inside this bubble of gas? You know, how do we know what the Earth looked like before the firmament was broke around it? You know, I mean, think about it. So there was this globe of water that the Earth was inside of, and it was a filter for the UV rays, and it kept the whole world like a greenhouse, kept everything pleasant. That's why man could live to be 900 years old, like Methuselah. Some of them other ones is 800 and something years old. I mean, they all lived 8 times as long as we do now. So wine and stuff that fermented did not spoil like it does now. Well, after the flood, they was making grape juice and whatnot, and it fermented. No, Noah got intoxicated. But what they figured out they had to do was to keep stuff from ruining, they had to ferment it to a certain degree of an alcohol to keep it from spoiling, to help kill the bacteria. Because they didn't have a refrigerator. You know, I mean, come on, think about it. So wine was basically a grape juice that had just enough fermentation to preserve it. And it was corked and stored, and I mean, it was a pretty lengthy process. Now, they figured out how, we can get drunk off of it, let's make it strong. And that's why they come up with new wine. That new wine was some tough stuff. So, you know, if that puts it into perspective, now that's probably not precisely exactly how everything worked, but it was pretty close. Called Michelle for a hot cup of coffee. I'm gonna have to go in there. I don't know where she's. I seen her pass through one time a while ago. Oh, I tell y'all what, while y'all watch that fire right there and keep a good eye on it, I'll run top my cup of coffee off, because I'm gonna need the fuel to go another hour. We got time. Right. Well, sir, we got us a fresh hot cup of coffee, piping hot, like them pizzas they used to sell. You like an old milk crate? Well, I done stomped the bottom out of several old milk crates, but I was using them for stools to set on. Well, y'all, what y'all want to get on to now? I tell you what, I tell y'all I did start some seeds today. And y'all, I saved some celebrity tomato seeds last year. I did them, I fermented the seed. In other words, I put them in water and let them sit there till they dissolved all the coat and everything off. And then I looked for them devils today. And I looked for them. and I looked for them. I still don't know where I put them seeds. I put them up where I know where they're at. That's what I done. Yeah. And they still there. They'll be safe for a long time. I'll run across them one day and go, there them. I remember now. And I'll move them. Say, well, I'm going to put them where I can find them. And then when I think about needing them, I go back to where I found them and they won't be there. I'll be done it again. So when I find them, I probably just well to throw them away. Y'all ever do that? I walked in the house a while ago, stood there for a minute, and I said, now what did I come in here for? I was like at the Jerry Clower's aunt, Uncle Percy had a sister, and she never did get married. Said preacher come by to visit her. Said, man, said, how are you today? She said, said, I'm doing all right. He said, well, man, she said, you lonely? She said, oh, no. Said, I got a lot of swell men that come visit me every day. She said, oh, Charlie Horse, said he comes along. Said, and then arthritis shows up. She said, and then Ben Gay said, I rub him in. She had several of them like that. And he said, well, said, have you started thinking about the hereafter? She said, oh, yeah. She said, all the time. She said, no matter where I'm at. She said, if I'm in the parlor, if I'm in the kitchen, she said, if I go to the laundry room, or I can go back in the bedroom. She said, I'll stand there for just a minute and say, now what am I hereafter? That's what I do. I walk in there every now and then and go, now what did I come in here for? You just have to stand there and go, and then it'll come to you in a minute. You can take on off again. Ken, I don't know if they are or not. But now I will say this. Hybrid seed will germinate. It's just not going to come back true to what it was. It'll come back to one of the parent plants. I'm not sure if they are or not. I really don't know. I bought some last year. Last year was the first time I run celebrity tomatoes, and they did really well here, handled the heat well. I did Big Beef. Big Beef is an excellent tomato. I'm not sure if it's a hybrid or not. But now, like I said, if it is a hybrid, it won't come back true to what you raised. It'll be one of the parent plants because, I mean, a hybrid is where you take two different tomatoes and crossbreed them. But now there is a lot of the varieties of tomatoes that we have today are from cross-pollination, and you get things that do stay true to it. You bred in this and that like you do chickens. So I don't know. I'm going to have to move this air again because I'm about to freeze. Lord, campfire is a never-ending battle. You know, it feels good and smell that wood burning, but that smoke will run you out of here if you ain't careful. And while I'm at it, I need to cut this grill off. And when I say cut the grill off, I mean I had to shut the air off on the other end and put a cap on the smokestack. That cuts it pretty well off. Time for me to turn in. Go hit the hay, Butch. Good to see you tonight. Good to hear from you. I have never growed sorghum. I really hadn't, Exodus. I couldn't tell you not one thing about it. And I've got a neighbor down the road that grows it every year. And Shona sent me some seeds. She sent me the water spinach that year, and then she sent me some sugarcane sorghum, sugarcane seeds. And I have not planted them. I planted water spinach. I loved it. I was going to plant it last year and I couldn't find my seeds, but I've located them now. I got them laid out. So I don't really know. I have never heard of ox heart tomatoes. Um, I'll tell you what I planted this year so far. I planted my little black strawberry. They're black strawberry. They're the little cherry tomatoes, but they're black. They were delicious. I planted them. I planted Better Boy. I planted my hillbilly potato leaf, which is the big yellow tomato. I love it. And I planted Better Boy, hillbilly potato leaf, and big beef. I started some big beef seeds, and then so I've got 4 tomatoes I started. Whenever they put tomatoes out at the local farm supply, we have a local co-op. I'll buy some celebrity tomatoes there and plant what celebrities I want. That's going to be it for me on tomatoes. I am not loading my whole garden up with stuff this year. I do that every year. All the beds, everything, and I want to fish. I want to fish and camp, and I can't do that out here worrying about a garden needing working. I'm going to have my garden now. We're going to have plenty garden to film and do stuff, but I'm not going to plant 20 different kind of tomatoes. Cherokee purples, I didn't have no luck with them last year. And to me, a Cherokee purple is only good for a sandwich. They're not good canning tomatoes. I have canned them before. They make a fairly decent salsa, but so does everything else. Time you put the hot sauce and peppers and all you want in there, can't tell one tomato from another one. I mean, that's just the honest to God's truth, in my opinion anyway. So I've got brandy wines, and I've had good luck with brandy wines, but they just didn't have the flavor that I get out of the Better Boy. The Better Boy has the best flavor to me. It is the tomato I grew up on, which is probably why I'm partial to it. But now the big beef showed out here for me. It got hot and dry in these beds, and I wasn't watering them like I needed to, and the vines started dying, and those vines started producing first and was the last ones to still have tomatoes producing. They showed out. So I'm a fan of the big beef, and those celebrities down there last year did well. The Cherokees died. Everything else I had died. Now my Better Boys up here did awesome, and I had Better Boys down there, but they did mediocre. So I don't know. And last year we put out Romas. I planted Roma tomatoes. And they wound up, at first I was not impressed. We had some up here and the bed did not do good at all. But the Romas that I put down yonder, I wound up with like 3 5-gallon buckets full of tomatoes off of them. They just grew in clusters and got, about the size of a baseball. Maybe not quite that big, but they did really good. I've never heard of a mortgage lifter. I know there is a lot of tomato flavors out there now. You can look at Baker's Creek catalogs. They are full. Gurney's is full of all kind of stuff. I really wanted to contact Hoss Tools and get them to send me a catalog. Hoss Tools is a pretty decent supplier for gardening stuff. If y'all are not familiar, Hoss Tools has a YouTube channel. He teaches a lot of gardening. He is 100% nothing but gardening channel. And as far as practical old man style gardening like what I grew up on, he's money. He's the one to watch, in my opinion. I've watched a lot of these other cats that do some gardening, Joe Gardner and all of them, and they always doing all these other methods and what they all teach looks pretty, but it's not practical for a man that's working, that needs to come home and see after his garden a little while in the evening. You can plant leaf litter and make it work. You can mulch and make it work. You can do plenty compost and no fertilizer and all that stuff. You can make everything you want to do work. The problem with it is some of it you got to spend a lot of time pulling weeds and stuff, or working putting weed barrier and bunch. For the old timers that like to go out there and take a disc and just till the dirt up, they did what worked because they farmed a lot of land. And you ain't gonna go out there and plant peas and put fabric and mulch in between the rows. I'm sorry, it don't work that way. Not you make enough to put up. What you gonna do with a 10-foot row of peas? Have one meal? I mean, there ain't no sense. You'll eat that up and be gone. All that work will be for nothing. So, you know, whether you can do something or whether it's practical is a horse of a different color. And I'm more about what's practical. What is the most common sense thing to do? And if I can get away from chemicals and all that stuff, I'm all for it. But now I'm not going to stand here and tell you that, oh, I want to be all organic because I'm scared to death to put fertilizer in my garden, or I'm scared to death to spray something. If these bugs eat my stuff up, I ain't got no qualms about putting poison in a sprayer and spraying it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't like to spray on what I'm going to eat now. In other words, if I'm going to spray what I'm going to eat, it's going to be a real light, a weak solution, and then I'm not going to eat it till after a rain, or it's been watered good and washed and all such as that. A lot of people get afraid, oh, you put that stuff in the ground, these fertilizer thing, and it leaches up to your plant. That's hogwash. It don't nothing leach up into a plant to be harmful to you. If it's harmful to you, it'll kill that plant. And that's a fact. Now, Roundup kills the plant. But now, are you eating something that Roundup's on? You got Roundup Ready corn. Well, they round up the ground and then plant the corn seed in it. They don't really round up the corn. Now, after they make grain, they do come in with those commercial places and spray Roundup on the crop and kill the crop to process it. That is a whole different method. That is not what I'm doing out here in my garden. So, you know, I understand. You got to understand all these things that are going on and why Roundup or this other is bad for you. Because they fly over it in an airplane up in the Delta up here like corn. And once it gets up and it's right, they ride over that joker and spray it and kill all them plants. And then it sits there and dries and hardens on there and they harvest it. But now most of that is not for human consumption. Most of what they're doing there is making biofuel, or either it's going into shell corn for animal feed, which there again, you putting it in animal feed. A lot of people's buying it for their deer. Could be part of where chronic wasting comes in. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate too much, but the thing that I have with a grocery store crops is not the fertilizer, what they put in the ground and grew out of. It's what they spray on the actual fruit to preserve it so that it don't start molding before it gets purchased. That is what I am a little like, you know. And I can't say I understand every process and every chemical they put on stuff. I hadn't looked into it, but I mean, that would be where I would have a question if I was going to be concerned about something. And I do think there's stuff that we buy in a grocery store that's killing us, you know. I mean, what it is and exactly which product, I have no idea. But that smoke is determined to get me, ain't it? I'll lean off over here like this, look like I'm drunk or something. Thank you, Michael Cox. Good to have you here. Tyler Coco, good to see you. Matt Davis, I'll tell you what, I never had a lot of problem with squash bugs. And let me tell you about squash bugs. I know how to handle squash bugs. The only thing that I ever really had a problem with them in is my actual crookneck squash. I'd never had them eat pumpkins. I never had them eat cucumbers. I never had them eat anything else. But they would kill over half of my squash plants. So I had got to where I was planting 12 to 14 squash plants because half of them had died before the season was out. So what I started doing was putting granulated ant poison around my squash plants. You can kill squash bugs with malathion and 38 plus, which is permethrin. Uh, Different products will kill the squash bugs, but you got to spray it as a liquid on everything. Well, there again, like I said, I don't really like to spray liquid poison on what I'm going to eat. And so usually squash is done started putting on by the time you need to treat squash bugs. So the granulated ant poison, you can take a cup down there and sprinkle it around every plant. It'll fall to the ground. It's not going to soak into your fruit. And if it's in the ground, it's not going to leach up into the fruit enough to hurt anything. Because I've done it too many years to know. So that's when I started putting granulated ant poison. About every 2 weeks, I'd go through there and sprinkle a little around. And as long as it don't rain on it or you water it, it'll lay there and kill the bugs for longer than 2 weeks. But it rains on it, washes it away. I'm watering, such as that. And that's just, that's supposed to happen in a garden, It's got to have water. Unless you're bottom watering. If you got tape run through there or soaker hoses, you may not have a problem. But anyway, back to the squash bugs. I never had huge problems with them until year before last, when I decided this one section of my garden, I was going to just rake up every leaf I could get my hands on, and I was going to fill that garden full of leaf litter. It was going to suppress some weeds, and we do a no-till gardening. And I tried it on several different things. I even tried planting corn, drilled through a ground cover crop that I had killed. And that didn't work like they said it did. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that people claim, oh, this is a wonderful idea, and it just practically does not work. So when I put the leaf litter down there, it sort of suppressed the weeds in places that I had it like really thick. Places that it was 3 and 4 inches thick, the grass shot right through. Places that I put it 6, 8 inches thick, did okay. But I ain't never in my life fought bugs like I did that year. We had squash bugs got in the attic of our house. They got everywhere after I did that. They eat up squash, they eat up cucumbers, they got in our pumpkins and eat them. I mean, they was all over everywhere in fact, they was still a lot of them last year because of that. I said, never again will I put leaf litter and mulch, all that stuff in there. Now, using like hardwood chips and stuff is different. You can probably get away with that, but now my problem is I don't have a lot of that to get, and I'm not going to buy all of that and put in my garden for an experiment. So, them vine borers walked in, put granulated ant poison. That old, and about any of it'll work. It won't kill ants for amount to nothing. It'll kill a handful right on top of the mound, but them ants will just move over yonder somewhere. But now it works good around your plants, and I don't care if it kills them or not, but it'll keep them run out from your plant. And I'm promising y'all, after I started putting that granulated ant poison around my squash plants, I have not lost a squash plant. Now, that year I put that mulch all in there, the snails eat a bunch of them up. I mean, snails. I don't know what all kind of bugs we had that year, but now that stuff, if you wanna fight bugs in your garden, pile it full of mulch and leaf litter and stuff, and do that no-till 1 year. You'll see what I'm talking about. Or at least that's the way it worked here. How many of y'all have tried the granulated ant poison around your squash? How many of you have done it last year from seeing my video and it worked for you? Matt Davis said he... Did you do it last year, Matt? I did the cardboard, Sean, and it worked okay. But now my problem is I had weeds that come up where I overlapped it. I didn't overlap it, but about 2 or 3 inches, and the weeds come up and went through the cracks, and grass come out of it. And the problem I had with it is I had to hand pull all of that, because then I couldn't just take my tiller and run down through there, or take a hoe and go down through there. And I'll be honest with you, I can take a hoe and go down there in that garden, and in about an hour I can clean the whole thing out. I can have all of my garden and my stuff that I'm worried about growing. I'm not going to fight peas and corn and all that. I am not hoeing all that. I plant it thick enough that the corn can outdo the grass, and I plow it with that tractor and plow enough till I got it under control, and I'm good. Sean, you got a raccoon out there getting your chickens. You better get that old scatter gun and head out there. Y'all be like old Marcel. Said old Marcel Ledbetter showed up to school one day, said it was done after lunch. Said the principal, said, Marcel, said, what you doing so late? He said, well, said Prov Turner. He said, there's something been a-getting our chickens. He said, every night we lose 2 or 3 chickens. Said they be feathers everywhere. And he said, last night, Papa said, Marcel said tonight, said, we're going to get whatever's getting our chickens. He said, about 4:30 this morning, said, Papa woke me up. Said, get up, Marcel. Said, whatever's getting our chickens is out there. Said, I hear them hens just a-hollering before daylight. So we got up, said we started out there, and said Papa got that 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun. Said he loaded both barrels with them heavy shells. Said them goose shells, he called them. He said we tipping out there. He said, now Papa never wore nothing to sleep in, just a nightgown. Said nothing else. He said, and he done thumb-cocked both barrels of that chicken coop. Said we was coming around the corner of it. Said he had it drawed up, had done put it to his shoulder. He said, shh, we fixing to get that thing now. He said, about that time, said that coon dog we had cold-nosed Uncle Versi up under that gown. He said, and I've been picking chickens ever since. Larry, you done got sideways on us. There's Linwood Vowell. Done showed up for the party. Michael Cox. Let me scroll back up. I know D. Bruce. A lot of folks I hadn't really paid no attention to. Anthony White. Some of them probably done got off. I know there's a lot of y'all that it's watching on TV, can't comment. So anyway, good to have all of y'all. We got 127 people. I was gonna say that I talked to Sam Allen's dad today, and Sam Allen's getting better. Gonna be all right. They're doing some therapy. He's been watching Spirit of the Outdoors. Man, that thrills my soul. And if I can get down to Jackson sometime, I want to go see Sam Allen. But y'all, with the knife giveaway, we have raised about $1,400 so far. And so we're going to run this to the 16th. The knife giveaway, they $10 a chance. If you hadn't bought any chances on the knife, you need to, and you want to help. It's all charity. Every bit of it's going to Sam Allen and that family. Help them out. Help them pay some medical bills, or buy them a big screen TV, or whatever they want to do with it. I really don't care. Don't matter to me none. I got low battery stuff coming up on there. I tell you what I need to do. I got this plugged up. Y'all, this cord right here is a story within itself right now. Me and my wife had the awfulest fight you ever seen in your life. Let me plug this up and I'll quit shaking y'all around. Anyway, we fussed in there a little bit because she unplugged my iPad while I had it charged, and while we was gone, it was about dead. This charged up now. I fussed at her. She threatened to hit me with a skillet and a rolling pin too. She is somewhat mad at me. Oh, no. Wesley, I'm going to be honest with y'all about dates. I don't do dates. I don't. A date's about as useless a thing as they ever was. Here's the problem with a date. I knew a girl one time, she was about wider than this chair was. She went on a diet, in about 6 months, she got down where she wasn't this big around. Pretty. Well, she stayed on that diet a little while and got tired of it, and got off of it, and now she's this wide. You know, follow what I'm telling you here? So, here's the deal. You can diet, and it's good for a short period of time while you torturing yourself. Or you can embrace it. I ain't never gonna look like a supermodel, but I want to be healthy and just eat a moderate thing. And whatever your way of eating is has to become a way of life, not a diet. You need to say, well, you know what? If I'm gaining weight and it's a problem for me, I'm having health issues, or I'm not happy with the way I look, or I feel miserable, or whatever the case. There's a lot of reasons for wanting to lose weight, or, you have to decide, you know what, I'm going to remove something from my life, and it's just going to be gone. For me, I started with Coca-Colas. Now, I drank the 20-ounce Coca-Cola tonight. I have one about every 2 or 3 weeks. I used to drink a 12-pack every 2 days. I kept them in my cooler of my truck. I drank one in the morning, one in the afternoon, 2 or 3 through the day, whatever. Whenever I felt like it, I'd go grab a Coke and drink it. And that's terrible for you. Cokes and soft drinks, and I'm going to tell y'all, them diet soft drinks will make you fat. I know they will. And I tell you how I know. You don't never see nothing but fat people drinking them. Think about it. But anyway, any soft drinks, I don't care if they say diet on or not, they ain't good for you. If you like them and want to drink them, drink them. But if you cut them out, you're going to lose about 10 pounds right there. I can tell you. You get rid of them. Now, my problem is sweet tea, so I try to reserve my sweet tea for just at mealtime, and then occasionally I'll come in and drink a glass of sweet tea. During the summer when it gets hot, I don't drink nothing but water hardly, and then coffee. Now, coffee is probably a problem for me, but I don't really think it's probably affecting my weight as much as it probably affecting other parts of my body, my kidneys and such. But it has to just, whatever you decide to do has to become a way of life. And I'll tell you, my biggest step was, I went all water for 6 months to a year. I was metal roofing, I was having some kidney troubles, I had got a little overweight, and just didn't feel good. And I was like, you know what, I got to change some ways of life. And I just cut out all soft drinks, and I went to nothing but water. And then I've slowly got back to tea, and now I have a Coke as a treat every now and then. I don't drink them very often. But the next thing I did is when I eat a plate of food, it's like that steak. I sit here and eat a steak and a salad, and I have eaten nothing else. Now, I did eat a handful of takis out of a tater chip bag before that, and I had eat a piece of fish that was left in there from last night while I was waiting on it because I'm about near to starve to death. But I really didn't eat nothing for dinner. And we had biscuits this morning. I did have cat head biscuits. But, sometimes I don't eat but 2 meals a day. But any one time I eat a meal, I eat 1 plate of food, and that's it. Do not go back and say, well, I'm going to eat the rest of it, have another helping of this. And then whenever you do that, it has to just be this is how life is, and this is the way I'm gonna do from now on. And you can maintain a healthy body. You ain't probably ever gonna be supermodel trim, but you can be decently in health. Now, when any of us get to 35 years old, especially to 40 and on, we not really concerned with how slim and trim we are. It's about enjoying life. But you don't want to get cardiac arrest and die young either. So once you get medical problems, and then all of that changes. But there again, just a diet really ain't no count, in my opinion. Now, it's just my opinion now. Whatever you do needs to just be this is how life's gonna be. I'm gonna just cut this is not good for me, and I'm just not gonna eat it no more. And that's the way you need to. And I drank a lot of goldenrod teas. Yeah, for all good things. That the word diet just, I mean, you can go on a diet and lose it. That's like these different type of diets. They got all these. Well, this is this kind of diet, and then this kind of diet. I mean, really. So I don't know. I think a lot of people come up with stuff just so they can mentally get past the fact that I'm cutting. So you're gonna have to figure out. I mean, a lot of breads is putting weight on you. First thing you got to assess is why am I going on a diet? What is my good legitimate reason for doing a diet? Now, I mean, if it's for a health reason, well, you need to figure out what's wrong first, and then figure out what is causing it, and just cut that out of your life. And they say a lot of sugar is bad for us, and it is. I mean, we drink it entirely, and that's why my coffee, I drink it black. And I like it with sugar and hazelnut creamer in it occasionally. Oh, outdoors, them skillets are tough now. And they don't hardly dent neither. Dave, them soft drinks, they cause a lot of headaches, is what they cause. Now, I don't know what in them, if it's aspartame or formaldehyde or cyanide or what's in. One of them ides is in there. And and what I did is I'd just start drinking them. Stop drinking them. So I don't. Herbal teas, Jason, is good for you. And one thing I like just knowing that I can go out here and pick some stuff that I don't mind the taste of and drink. Oh, and goldenrod has been that for me. I like goldenrod. And I'm going to tell y'all another thing that I'm taking a liking to. And I hadn't made as much a tea out of it as I did the tincture. It works. But that is the greenbrier. I've found a lot of uses. And the greenbrier tea is pretty good. So greenbrier root is moving up in the list for me on things because there's such an abundance of it. And I look at things as that grow rampant here and think, well, God must have a reason for letting this be so rampant. I mean, why is there so much of it? I need to do something with it. They say the kudzu's like that. And I haven't got sold on kudzu yet. I love the smell of those little flowers, but my Lord, you got to wade through all them vines to find them. But they say that you could eat a lot of the kudzu can be eaten, and they say that it's if you're starving to death and you had a patch of it, it'd be a blessing because it grows constantly. Cindy, I agree with him. That's how I drank most of my water in this coffee. I'm scrolling back up. I'll probably change the topic again in a minute. Go back and look at old conversations. Tanya, is it Shavak or Skavak? Howdy from Shoba County. Good to have you with us. I love to see new names pop up here, y'all. I really do. It is fun to see who all we reaching. You know, I'm starting to see dandelions popping up here, but y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, I got a peach tree out here that's blooming out. The last 2 years, it has bloomed out like this, and I ain't had a peach one because the cold comes in and just wipes it out. I mean, we'll have an ice storm. What I need to do is get me a big old plastic bag that I can cover it up with. And I got some down there that's about big enough. I'm telling you, I'm about sick of not having no fruit. Yeah, Cindy, I drank a lot of that goldenrod, and we have an abundance of it. I mean, it just grows everywhere here. You trip over it here. And I harvest a lot of that red lobelia, and y'all know I ain't made no tea out of that hardly. I have got, really this year, I don't even need to harvest any wild plants because I seen a red light down there on, but actually I think it is a reflection off of some other lights on that boat. I was wondering what in the world I leave on down there. Y'all ever get to doing that? That I routinely harvest down is goldenrod. I make sure I got an abundance of it. I love to find rabbit tobacco. Those are the most common medicinals. And then elderberries, I usually make elderberry syrup or elderberry juice. This year I picked all my elderberries. I never did make the syrup. Elderberries is still in the freezer in a bag. I need to get it and cook it down one day and make the syrup because we could have used it greatly around when we was awesome. But actually, you don't drink that elderberry once you're sick. You drink it occasionally to prevent sickness because once you start running fever, elderberries and such will boost that fever and make it worse because it's intense. It's helping you fight off sickness. Now, if you just got a mild cold, it's okay. But if you start running high fever, you need to quit taking elderberry syrup. But I do the elderberries. Now, I don't really harvest pokeberries. I do the pokeberry stuff just while it's in bloom. I like them. And I've got a supply of bone set. I don't use a lot of bone set. Bone set I only use to break a fever. I don't use it for all colds and all that kind of stuff. And it's supposed to help, I think, with some other things. But one of my problems is when you have this broad spectrum of plants and then something goes wrong, well, by the time you remember which plant does what. So, you know what I'm saying? And too much of it gets overwhelming. The greenbrier I made a tincture out of. Last year was the first year that I harvested the greenbrier root. Now, we're not talking about the long runners. We're talking about those big, gnarly looking balls with the spikes on them, and they'll be in a cluster in the ground under, and I dig them up. I got a video on harvesting them. I don't know why I keep yawning. I ain't even sleepy. But let me get my train of thought back on the greenbrier root. Harvesting them greenbrier roots, that tincture is good for somewhat like vitality. But it's got immune system building stuff. I'll have to go back and pull it up to read exactly what all it does. There were several things that it covered. But I'm going to be honest with you, after I started taking that tincture, and it said to get the full benefit out of it, you can't just take it when you get sick. It's one of those things you take like a vitamin every day. You need to take a spoonful of that tincture every day. So I've got another batch making right now of an alcohol tincture, and I'll probably half of a spoonful I'd take or something like that every day, just a little bit. And I'm going to be honest with you, I felt just in general good. It's how I got a lot of the stuff done that I got done. I mean, I just felt good, and I can tell since I've been off of it a little while. So it says that you have to take it for a period of time before you really start reaping the benefits of it, and I would say that was correct. Oh, what is good for sinus infection drainage? You know that sinus part of that, I'm really not sure. There was something, but I don't remember if it's the self-heal. There's one that is specifically for that. One of the plants. I'm wanting to think self-heal, but I am not sure. I'll have to look it back up. Yeah, I know, Brenda. After I done yawned about twice, I keep getting worse at it. And honest to God, I ain't sleepy at all. They tell me it has something to do with a lack of oxygen and everything else. Yeah, Cindy, there you go. Not getting enough oxygen. That's because I'm talking too much and ain't breathing in, ain't it? Well, Dave, what do you juice? I got a juicer down there, and I've tried to juice a couple of things, and I'm going to be honest with you. I yet to find anything that I really was pleased with that I wanted to drink. So give me some tips on what I need to do. I planted some catnip and it never come up. I don't know why. I couldn't get the catnip to come up. I've not got my lemon balm. I ordered some lemon balm seeds and none of them sprouted. And I ordered them from Baker's Creek. And I heard some other people had some problems with Baker Creek seeds. So I hate to throw rocks at them. I don't know. Maybe the seed I got is no good. I just know several things I ordered at that time never come up. A lot of herbal seeds I ordered never sprouted. Frank B. talking about misting the fruit tree buds the whole evening before the frost. Well, I'm going to tell you, it wasn't the frost that got it, Frank. I got up one morning, we had an ice storm, and there was about a 1/4 inch sheet of ice all over everything out here. I ain't got them now, but I had pictures of my blooms encased in ice, whole tree. And it killed all of it. It done it in, so. But I did have an old man told me, he said my tomatoes, and he was a good gardener. He had a stroke, hadn't gardened since. He had a stroke about 3 years ago. But he said when it frost, he said to get up the next morning, he said after a frost early, he said before that sun gets on them, he said and spray them with a water hose. He said it'll melt that ice off of them. He said it won't hurt them at all. Now, he swore by that. I don't know. Underground Customs. Good to see you tonight. Jenny's back. No, we don't have any grouse. No grouse at all here that I'm aware of now. I tried to start some pheasants here, and I've turned several pheasants out that I had raised, and I don't know what happened to them. I ain't see them no more. So the problem with stuff like that is if somebody around in this part of the country sees something in the wild like that, I gotta shoot that, boom. He's gone. That's the way they think around here. If they see something, they think they gotta kill it. They can't just look. Oh, I seen that today. They gotta be able to take it and show it to somebody because they're afraid they won't believe them. That's kind of the way they are with deer hunting. If they see it, they just gotta kill it. They don't care if really ain't wanting to eat it. I just want to kill it. And that's probably what happened to the pheasants I turned out. Somebody seen them and said, I'm gonna shoot that. Nobody else around here has shot a pheasant. Yeah, nobody else is going to shoot one either because you just killed the only one in captivity. Oh, Lord. And they think they're good and done the world a favor. kale, celery, cucumber. I did juice a cucumber last year. I did remember that. Ginger root, lemon, Granny Smith apple, Fuji apple, 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar. So you mix all of this together and juice it. You do this every day, or is this? I've got a juicer. I got it at the thrift store. And I like to burn that thing up, trying to juice them stalks out of them wild lettuce. Everybody kept saying if I could use a juicer with that wild lettuce. I don't know. Yes, Cindy Cody probably got them and the foxes. I imagine the foxes put a hurting on them. But now I will say this: the possums wipe out a lot of our stuff like that, and not by killing the animal, but when they nest, those things that nest on the ground have been eradicated because we got people quit trapping all the possums and the skunks and the coons and stuff, and they eat up all those eggs. They'll raid them nests, and it's hard. We don't have a lot of good places anymore for them to nest, so. Cindy, them dandelions don't never make it here. When I see a dandelion flower, I pull that joker up right straight. I done eat it before I even think about it. Oh Lord, I don't know why I like to eat them. They're a good snack, but we're gonna make a salad out of this hen bit. I got a bunch of hen bit. We're gonna make a hen bit salad here in the coming days. I'll do a short video on that, but stuff that going back to the original conversation, the stuff that I normally harvest is goldenrod, rabbit tobacco, cardinal flower, which is Lobelia cardinalis. I regularly do that. And there was something else I was gonna name that I harvest pretty regularly, but I can't say that I use it. Turkey tail mushroom would probably be the next thing on the list. And I add that turkey tail mushroom in with my goldenrod tea occasionally just to help build the immune system. Cindy, henbit looks a lot like purple dead nettle. It is early spring, one of the first little flowers that pops. It's got little bitty purple flowers on there. It's a stem. And it'll have a round ring of green flowers, and it'll space up, and there'll be another ring of green flowers. It'll space up, there'll be another ring. And on top, they'll have little purple flowers on that green leaves. And it's the whole plant is about big around as your thumb, maybe a little bigger around. But there'll be a whole wad cluster of it. I mean, it'll be a patch just thick as a hair on a dog's back. And I'll show it in a video. It's actually the video that's going to come out in the morning. I've still got to go in here and edit it all. I started my seeds today, and it'll be in the B-roll of that video. I zoomed in on some down here around. It's growing around my garlic. I got garlic that's coming up. It's growing around it. But it's time. I watched Celebrating Appalachia, and they getting their garden planted. I was watching Matt. They work in a greenhouse, and y'all, I wish I had a greenhouse. My problem is I have no level spot to put one, honest to God. A greenhouse is something you don't want on the side of a hill. I mean, it needs, for it to be able to put that stuff over it. And I could make a level spot, and I have got some level spots, but not level spots where I could put a greenhouse that would be out of the way and not where I'm driving through and, and accessible to the shed. I mean, in proximity of what I'm doing. So I don't know. And another thing is a greenhouse has to be kept out away from limbs and stuff because we get a lot of heavy wind in the spring. And there's limbs blowing out of pine trees all over the yard, so you got to get out away from all that because you got a plastic top on the thing. And I could build one out of those, what do you call them, skylights? It's like a sheet of tin that's plastic. We call them skylights here. It has a technical name I probably would never think of. But I could build one out of that and it would last a great while longer. And there's several different ways. You can build one with a bunch of old windows if you got them. And I don't have any. So I don't know but I wish I had one where I could keep plants in through the winter. Put a small heater in there or a heat and light and let it run to keep it above temperature. And I could keep a lot of potted plants and possibly peppers and things over the winter, just experimental type stuff, and be able to start my seeds a lot better than what I am doing right now. But I don't know, I don't have a good place to build one, and the last thing I need right now is another project. So I make do like I am right now, but I watched them, and it's time to get started here. It's been time, actually. End of January, you need to starting your tomato and pepper seeds, but I don't normally get in no big hurry. I ain't trying to have the first tomato and the first this. That don't excite me. It ain't worth bragging about, in my opinion. And you have better success with less work if you wait till it's actually warm enough to really do what you want to do. So, anyway, if you got a greenhouse, it makes all that a lot easier. Plantain and Jenny Hackworth, that is another one. They was asking what I harvest normally. Plantain is that plant, but now I really don't harvest plantain and put it up. I have got some dried down there. I usually make some salve and then I'm done with it. And then I normally had rather use plantain fresh. Just leave it growing, and then when I need it, I have plenty patches of it right around my shed. I've got seeds, and plantain is an awesome plant. I mean, and it works too. I use it to doctor on chickens. I mean, I feed it to them and they'll eat it, and it'll cure a lot of what goes on in a chicken if you just throw it in there and let them eat it. So plantain is an excellent plant, but I usually just make a salve as far as bug bites and cuts and infections and stuff. Cindy, I was watching Matt and Tipper go by all of them rocks, and I wondered why they didn't just buy a dump truck load of gravel, like white slag, and have it dumped out in their driveway and use that back in throughout, because in my mind, that would have been a lot cheaper than buying all that many bags of stuff, which I didn't really look to see what he paid for it. I know that roll of fabric was $60-something, which was expected. It really wasn't as high as I figured it was going to be. But now there's some people, I watched GG plus the Beard, and they here close to where I live put fabric in their garden. Worked really well from them, and they ordered it online somewhere that wasn't too expensive. So, I mean, it wasn't cheap. So, I don't know. Falcon Den, those buy those heat lamps for chickens and that's the only bulbs that I can find that work for. And you can buy them in lower wattage if I'm not mistaken, where they don't just get too god awful hot. But now I want to think we can still at Walmart buy the regular old bulbs that get hot, if I'm not mistaken. Everything has went to an electronic like LED style fluorescent, but if I ain't mistaken, you can still get them at Walmart. I seen them somewhere. And now you make them buy the antique type bulbs, the old filament bulbs with the antique look at Lowe's. Because I've seen them in there. They would probably work. But anyway. Dog fennel. Somebody told me to put dog fennel in there to get rid of ticks and stuff. Lay it in the bedding of where your dog's sleeping. It'll help get rid of tick stuff. And Roscoe right now, him and Roxanne, we've been pulling ticks off them regularly here in the last 2 weeks, and we usually do a flea peel for them. It helps. But Roscoe sleeps in my bed, so there ain't no putting nothing where he lays for him to sleep on. But now Roxanne, if I chain her up for a day or two, she'll get in her dog house. I could put some stuff on hers. Look like my fire gonna go out over there, y'all, but I'm gonna let it. We ain't gonna be out here no great long while. Cindy, with that gravel, though, they didn't want lots of leftover. It wouldn't have been leftover if they'd spread it down the driveway, what was left. I guess so. I've got so many projects and things that I could use it for that it wouldn't be none left over. But now my driveways, y'all seen how long my driveway is. There wouldn't be no shortage of places to put it, potholes to put it in. And I'm probably going to have a load brought up here because I imagine this floor I'm sitting on is going to get all that gravel under it, because I already know I'm going to do a band of white slag at least 2 foot wide out here around my post and everything, because I don't want slab up here where I'm cooking with grease dripping down, especially off the fish cookers and stuff. You dripping grease, you get that all over a concrete slab and it just stains it up and looks nasty. So right now I've got a rug under my feet that was in the boat. I put a rubber mat in that aluminum boat and got this carpet rug out of it because fish hooks kept getting hung in it, so I throwed it right here. Uncle Sasquatch, we ain't gonna be far behind you. You ain't gonna miss. You ain't gonna miss no whole lot. Sean, they come get your chickens. I noticed you've been gone a little while. Tell us what went down out there. Gotta buy a whole new flock of chickens. Gotta buy eggs again. The price is bizarre. 5 years since I bought eggs. So you done let a critter wipe out your whole flock. It's happened to me too, brother. I'm gonna tell you. I hadn't had the whole flock wiped out in quite a while because I raised more than any critter can eat in one night, but I bet I lost 5 or 6 chickens last year before I got one caught. I had a possum that was just tearing into stuff. But now I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't had no luck with a live trap. I have put live traps. I seen you bought one. And about the only thing I can catch them with is a foot trap. They just too leery up here to go up in a cage for some reason. Now, my brother used to catch foxes and skunks and everything else in a live trap. I never could get them in there. Dave, you like that queen knife? I'm going to tell you now. I done upgraded. David Rush and Black Blood, I hadn't raised any of them yet. But now I done took a liking, Dave, to this case Mary sent me. If you ain't seen that video, and fish now. Set fish hook sharpener. Miss Mary sent me this. Now it is a little smaller than my queen, but I like my queen knife. I do. I got a couple of queen knives, and I'm still gonna get me a yellow queen, just so I have one for backup in case they quit making them. Mike, I mentioned you this morning with them cat head biscuits I was eating. I was smearing that beauty berry jelly on them cat head biscuits, and I thought about, I wonder what old Mike's doing. He finally got out of that big rig and sat down and took him a break for a minute, tuned in to Spirit of the Outdoors. Larry, we're not going to be on here long. We're going to get some folks like Mike a chance to spill his piece. Beaver, let me tell you what your best bet is. Get you some of them coon cuffs, the little can traps, and put your little cat food in them. And a possum or a raccoon will stick his hand in there. He's going to reach for that cat. And that cat food has got to be fish flavored. It can have chicken and all kind of other stuff in it, but it needs to have some fish flavored in it. And they say to mist it with some vanilla extract. They say if you'll squirt put a little vanilla extract in water and put it in a squirt bottle and mist that on it, they say that'll really tune him up. Make him stick his hand down in there good. So, and you can get them, I don't know, find out what a half dozen of them will cost you to order, and I'll see what I can pick up a half dozen for, and I may can just buy them and ship them to you cheaper up there from Duke's. I can't remember what the last ones I bought cost, but I need to go buy some traps sometime. I lost one of my Duke 650s the other day. I need about a half dozen of them and another half dozen of coon cans myself, because I ran over a coon can last year with a weed eater, and I got two over yonder I need to go get before my daddy runs over with a tractor. I done about forgot I had them out over there. I had them around his corn feeder. But you lose a few traps along if you trap, so. Yeah, Mike, you gonna have to do something with him if he's killing your hens. I would just separate him for a little while. Put him on a tie cord or in a cage by himself for a little while. He'll usually calm down, but there ain't no guarantee. Jason, we'll see you later, brother. Glad you joined in tonight. Y'all, I am hitting the sack too. I had a text message I saw come across my screen that one of my friends may have passed away. So I'm going to have to look and see what is going on there. So anyway, thank y'all for watching Spirit of the Outdoors tonight. I have had a good time sitting here and chatting and talking with y'all and eating my steak. And I may go in there and find me that bowl of ice cream we was talking about earlier. But we have been out here at it for quite a while anyway, and I have enjoyed every minute of it, y'all. So thank y'all for watching tonight, taking time out to hang out with us, y'all. This is a great community of folks and group of people out here, y'all. I love every one of you, and I appreciate you tuning in. I know a lot of times we may not all agree on everything we talk about, but we all still love each other and want the best for everybody. And I appreciate y'all sitting and listening to me, and it means a lot when I see y'all and you say, man, I love watching your videos, and you tune in and you sit here for 2.5 hours to 3 hours and listen to me talk and carry on and answer questions. It really means a lot to me, y'all. I don't take it for granted. So thank y'all. we'll see you next time. Hopefully I'll get in there and get a video edited so y'all will have a video in the morning. I know you didn't get one today. We'll see you next time. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.